hooping is all about control. And today, for hula hooping and with the lasso and keeping the lasso up, we're going to focus on the upper body, specifically the arm, which consists of the elbows, the wrist, the thumb, and the fingers. A prerequisite to this move, or a move you have to know before this, is knowing how to bring the hoop up into lasso. So pass and bring up with one hand, or go from one hand, bring it to the next so that it can pass into lasso. When you're hula hooping on your waist, for example, and you take a step forward and backwards, you're using that momentum to get the hoop started. Well, it's the same concept with the arm. You're using your elbow and bending it for the back push, and you're using it again for the forward push when you go forward. The movement isn't this exaggerated, but this is basically the concept. The thing is, when you use on your hand, it's a lot smaller than your waist. So on your waist, it's smaller, or it's a slower rotation. On your hand, it's a little faster rotation. So you're using your elbow to push forward, and you're using your fingers. If the hoop is too heavy, you might be using your fingers to push it and grab. So push and grab. This might be a little difficult with heavy hoops such as beginner hoops. Beginner hoops are actually specifically designed for on-body. So when you're doing a lasso and you keep practicing, you might get bruises on the back of your hands. And that's because it's a really heavy hoop. So if you could try to find a hoop that is 100 psi or just a smaller one, it might be easier in your hands. But if you do have a beginner hoop, still practice the lasso because it'll build your arm strength up and help you get the momentum down and how to move your hand correctly. So you might want to grip as it goes across your front and push and grip and push. Eventually you'll be able to just grip so much that you won't need to because it builds up momentum. Another thing about keeping the lasso up is sticking your thumb out. So if you can see, the lasso is staying up and controlled with the thumb out. Otherwise, if you don't have your thumb out, it's going to maybe stay up here a little bit, but eventually lose control. So how do you control the hula hoop if it's not controlled at the top of it? It's just going to roll down your hand and hit you in the face, and you're not going to have control of the next movement, which might be this. So sticking your thumb out is just so you can control where the hoop goes. So that way you could stick the hoop up as long as your thumb's up, or stick your hand down as long as your thumb is still there to control the hoop. And this is how you basically keep the hoop up. Eventually you'll be able to use your wrist and not your elbow so much, or even your fingers. And that is basically how you do the lasso and keep it up.